March is known for the end of winter and the arrival of springtime, a season of warmth and renewal. For history buffs, it's also known for the date Julius Caesar met his last. But don't let time pass you by like a bunch of old Romans. Hello again, SA here. And I'm just here to remind you to get your copy of my book series, Glitch. It's available on Barnes & Noble and other fine bookstores, as well as Amazon. The links are down below in the description. And while you're out enjoying the spring weather, you can also indulge in my story of a kidnapped teen model and a reluctant jewel thief who are on the run from the law. Yeah, you don't have to guess. I still have other books coming down the pike. So as long as I don't run into any difficulties. You'll be seeing those books too, I'm sure. Now let's get back to the video. Hello again. SA here. You probably, if you've been paying attention, you probably know what's going down there at the southern border. All sorts of illegal aliens, border patrol not doing its job. Or I should say doing its job very poorly. Well, guess what, boys and girls? We have a new component, and according to Elon Musk, and I have to admit, I would never say that the sun, moon, and stars shines out of Elon Musk's ass, but let's say Elon, he knows people who knows people. But anyway, the story is being relayed by the Daily Mail and secondhand by old Tim, Tim Fu. So it's coming third hand from me, but listen up. According to Elon Musk, he found out that Joe Biden, or I should say clowns who work for Joe Biden, was importing 320,000 migrants by air directly from their countries into the United States, and was doing it surreptitiously. Now, wrap your mind around it. Now, of course, everyone coming down there at Brownsville and at San Ysidro, that's one thing. But to actually go to some third world shithole and on a chartered flight and then fly the people into the United States, that's ballsy on a whole new different level. And according to old Elon, just within the last year, 2023, yeah, that number, 320,000. And you're going to love this part. According to old Elon, these people were not vetted at all. No names, no addresses, no what you do for a living, nothing. Supposedly they contacted immigration, at the State Department by way of some phone app. And he doesn't get into the nuts and bolts about what the phone app was or how these people overseas got it or anything. But they said that, but he thinks that this is part of some broader scheme to import illegal voters for the election. And I'm thinking, yeah. Knowing the scumbaggery of the DNC, I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, think about it. You know that Joe, old Sleepy Joe, I mean, he's about as charismatic as a warm cup of spit, and therefore the DNC figures you had to have rocks for brains to vote for this guy twice. So how you get him over the hump? Well, you can either round up Trump and put him in the pokey, and of course, anyone who's been paying attention to all those stupid lawsuits say, yeah, they tried that plan. But of course, as you've been paying attention, the damn those lawsuits tend to be falling apart like a $2 suitcase in the rain. You know, whether it be that Willis woman down there in Georgia, the case was it insurrection case over there in D.C., which itself is a component of a much larger scheme where they're trying to take Trump off the ballot altogether. And of course, if you were paying attention, you saw that thing's not going to happen now because the Supreme Court ruled in Trump's favor, 9-0, flat out. They said, nah, we don't want no part of this, and just taking Trump's name off the ballot in states by fiat is just rubbish, and don't do it. And then, of course, you have that other stupid case where they were trying to try him on the damn, was it Monuments Clause garbage? Which, is, of course, is a garbage lawsuit because the guy's the president. And if you're president, one of the perks you get is that you get to look at classified information. And, wait for it, you can declassify it. No procedure, just snap your finger and say, okay, this is declassified now. And they're trying to put them in the damn Leavenworth for that? Really, dude? So yeah, all that lawfare garbage on Trump is just not working, okay? So if you're the DNC and lawfare ain't working against Trump, you can't get him off the ballot, so what's next? I guess you bring in a bunch of people from the outside of the country, give them fake IDs, or if you're real sneaky, register them surreptitiously in key swing states, places like Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and so forth. And then, when it's voting time, these people go to the damn ballot box and cast their votes for Biden, and wait for it, they'll be able to push Biden over the hump. And you say, wait, what? Yeah, because people tend to forget now. Because back in the last election in 2020, when people were saying, oh, Biden got like, what, 80 million votes to Trump's, was it 74 million? Yeah, but that was the popular vote. But if you break that stuff down by state, and believe multiple people have, like the people like Clayton and Natalie Morse were at the Redacted, and of course Tim Pool and a whole bunch of people in between, and they said that when you broke it down by state, Biden's win was tiny. How small? They said that when you count out the states that Trump didn't win in 2020 compared to 2016, we're talking Arizona, we're talking Georgia, we're talking Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Biden won, are you ready? Not by 1 million or 5 million. Nope. Not even 100,000. Biden won by 44,000 votes in select key states. And now you're sitting there saying, what? Yeah. Because remember, we have the Electoral College. We don't have, a winner-take-all system. In other words, whoever gets the most votes wins, hands down, end of story. Nope. Therefore, if you can do the arithmetic, if you can win the votes in key locations to get the magical number of 270 Electoral College votes, you win. And apparently the DNC had some very smart people on their side, and that's what they did. They managed to get just enough votes to get Biden over the top by getting enough votes in key swing states, states that Trump won in 16 and he would need for 2020. And it worked. Biden wins. But now Biden is such a loser. The same people vote for him ain't going to vote for him again. I mean, you think that guy Michael Rappaport is the only one who's sitting there cursing on the computer talking about, I don't like Donald Trump, but Biden is such a disaster. Voting for Donald Trump is on the ballot. Yeah. You think he's the only one? No, he's just one of like 10 million knuckleheads who voted for Biden because the news media told him to. Now he's feeling like a fool, and he should feel like a fool. But anyway, back to Elon. With this mess where they said that, according to Elon, he got his information from a Todd Burzman at the Center for Immigration Studies. And he got his information from, what do you call it, Freedom of Information Act request. And I figure if you're doing something shady like bringing people in the United States on chartered airplanes, you don't want to like write it down. I mean, good grief. I mean, didn't these people pay attention to Judgment at Nuremberg? Because if you watch that old movie, you would know that's what hung the Nazis. Because those stupid Germans had to write down everything. Even, and then when the war ended, the damn Allies found all those documents telling everyone how many Jews they killed. And therefore their asses was cooked. And stupid Biden, he's sitting there and his minions are writing down everything. And this guy does a Freedom of Information Act and he finds the information. Stupid. Pure stupid. Now, of course, old Elon, he thinks that Biden is planning some terrorist attack on the United States soil. And I think, and then like declaring martial law or some garbage like that. And I think that sounds like a Hollywood movie. And I don't think even the clowns who surround Biden got the balls to pull something like that. But anyway, regardless of the alarmism coming out of Elon's mouth, this mess cannot stand. Especially since when confronted with this information, everyone that is in the Biden administration that's confronted by this story, they're all basically clamming up. No zip, boop, not talking at all. Yep, maybe they have something to hide, something illegal. So what happens next? Well, as I said, I don't think Biden and his cronies going to stage some horrific terrorist attack with these knuckleheads he brought across the border. In all likelihood, they'll pull some shenanigans with the election. But if Elon wants to go the true alarmist route, I have a scenario for him. And this scenario actually occurred in real history. Are you ready? Here we go. Yeah, because long time ago, about almost 200 years ago, another country was being subjected to illegal aliens. Lots of them. And this country had open borders. Not because they wanted to have open borders, but let's just say this, they were kind of sloppy with border protection. And people were just coming in by the boatload. So many people that this foreign government just couldn't keep track of them. Sounds familiar? You know what country that was? It was Mexico. Yeah. Now, of course, some of you say, but I thought Mexico has very strict immigration laws. Well, they do now, but not over 150 years ago. Nope. Talking about wide open spaces? Yeah, back in those days, that's damn right. Well, anyway, what happened back then in the 1830s? Well, what happened was the Texas Revolution. And now some of you who live in Texas already know about Texas Revolution, so I don't have to speak to you clowns. You already know what's going. You already know that history. But for people who can't even find Texas on a map, or probably figured only steers and queers come from Texas, I'll give you a little tale. Are you ready? Okay. The whole damn mess started when a bunch of gringos, as the Mexicans call them, start pouring into Texas. And the people who lived in Texas, the indigenous population, the Tejanos, yeah, uh, they were kind of dissatisfied with the people in Mexico City. Why? Well, because according to the history books, just a decade before, Mexico had a federal republic like the United States, but then they changed the constitution and turned it into basically a centralized government, where basically all the power came out of Mexico City and basically deprived the people, the Tejanos, of basically a lot of rights. But then all of these foreigners, gringos from the United States mostly, who were pouring into Texas around this time, they basically partnered up with the local Tejanos and said, you know what, who needs people in Mexico City? Let's start our own country. And then, of course, you say, damn, what balls? Yeah, what balls? But guess what? According to the history books, back in the 1830s, there were so many gringos pouring into Texas that it was creating a critical mass population-wise. Yeah, that's right. Now, what does that sound like today, huh? Yeah, hundreds of thousands of people pouring across your border, people that you don't know who the hell these people are, and they're just coming across your border willy-nilly like the border doesn't exist. Yeah, because remember, someone a lot smarter than me once said, if you don't have a border, you don't have a nation. And the people in Mexico City kind of half noticed this. And therefore, when the people up in Texas started revolting, the government in Mexico under Santa Anna, they pushed through a decree that basically declared that any foreigners fighting Mexican troops will be deemed a pirate and dealt with as such. Being a citizen of no nation at war with the Mexican Republic and fighting under no recognized flag. In other words, they considered the gringos pouring into their country a bunch of scumbags. My words, not theirs, but basically same thing. And to make matters more ridiculous, the Mexican government only had a small contingent of troops actually in Texas at the time. And now you're saying, okay, well, that's just plain incompetence. Yeah, I agree. But anyway, the Texan revolutionaries overran the local garrison real quickly. And then they had a plebiscite. According to the history books, it was called a consultation. And all the usual characters were there. Austin, Houston, Travis, Bowie, Davy Crockett, and other characters. And they couldn't get their ducks in a row. Why? I don't know. Just know that they initially did a vote to the to install an interim government as opposed to declaring full independence. So there you go. But then they made trouble for themselves when they thought they could grab some territory south of what we now know modern Texas, down in Matamoros, and that turned to a disaster. They sent a contingent down there, and it didn't work out. The Mexican army met them on the field and chased them away. And after that, according to the history books, Santa Anna personally decided to go up north to retake Texas. And of course, as we all know, that didn't work out because after several skirmishes, including the famous one at the Alamo, Santa Anna basically lost it all at the Battle of San Jacome, and he was forced to surrender to Houston, and thus ended the war. And then, of course, not long after, Texas declared its full independence, became an independent country. Now, the next question is this: all these people pouring across the border, do they have the balls to try something here in the United States that the gringos tried against Mexico all those years ago? Now, of course, some of you saying, "Oh, that's rubbish. We got the technology is such nowadays that they wouldn't last 10 seconds against the American army." Yeah, and some people said the same thing about the people in Vietnam too, and how that worked out for us, huh? I'm not even going to mention Afghanistan because everybody loses in Afghanistan, okay? Nobody wins in Afghanistan. But yeah, the American Army doesn't win all its wars. They lose a few, okay? It just happens. But to have all these illegals coming across our border and pulling some stunt here inside the United States that Austin and Houston pulled in Mexico, which Texas was a part of all those years ago, and carve out a little piece of real estate and declare their own country, yeah, that would be pretty ballsy. And of course, anyone who's seen what's been happening with the American Army recently, you know, they can't maintain their numbers. It's all full of woke nonsense. You got damn commanding officers walking around in lipstick and high heels, except they're not women, they're dudes. And then of course they got that DEI garbage all through the army now, where they're kicking out all the damn white soldiers because of equity. I mean, if you had some really ballsy illegal alien, and of course, thanks to American Second Amendment, get a hold of a whole bunch of guns, they could, in theory, lob off a chunk of the United States and declare their own country. And of course, the American Army is so damn dysfunctional right now. In theory, they could get away with it. I mean, they do have the numbers. I mean, good grief. How many people poured across the border? Somewhere between, I think, 4 and 8 million people just in the last 3 years? Imagine giving all those clowns a gun. No, nothing crazy, just like a standard, AR with a full magazine. That number of knuckleheads in our country could cause a whole lot of trouble. No joke. So yeah, Elon, he may be thinking about the second coming of 9/11, but what he should be worried about is the second coming of the Texas Revolution, It said it probably wouldn't necessarily happen in Texas. It probably happen in some piece of real estate that's uh, has a small population, like say Wyoming or Kansas. Yeah, something to think about. Well, that's all I have to say about Joe Biden and shipping in people uh, first class flights. That's my opinion.